Welcome, seekers of the extraordinary, to History and Stories, your dedicated portal into the annals of human endeavor, where truth often outshines the most imaginative fiction. Here, we unearth meticulously documented facts, the verifiable accounts that form our shared past. Prepare yourselves for a journey into human ingenuity and audacity. Tonight we delve into grand heists and elaborate cons, narratives of intricate planning and breathtaking execution. Join us as we unravel these captivating sagas. The stage is set, the archives are open. Prepare to be astonished by the lengths individuals have gone. This is a world where the stakes are immeasurably high. Our journey begins in the heart of the English countryside, on a cool August night in 1963. Here, along the West Coast Main Line, a Royal Mail train was making its routine journey from Glasgow to London. Unbeknownst to its crew, it was heading towards an infamous heist. This was the result of meticulous planning by a determined syndicate, a collective that would soon become infamous worldwide. The mastermind, Bruce Reynolds, was a man of charisma and ambition. He assembled a team of specialists, each chosen for their specific skills. They studied the train's schedule and the layout of the high-value carriage. They knew the haul would be exceptionally large. The chosen location was Sears Crossing in Buckinghamshire. The gang tampered with the railway signals, compelling the train to halt. Jack Mills, the unsuspecting driver, initially believed it to be a routine stop. Antwerp, Belgium, the diamond capital of the world. In February 2003, the Antwerp Diamond Center was breached in the heist of the century. Mastermind Leonardo Notarbartolo posed as a diamond merchant. He gained access, studied security, and earned trust. The vault had a 3-ton door, magnetic sensors, and infrared detectors. Our story now takes us across the Atlantic to Boston, Massachusetts, and to a night in March 1990 that would leave an indelible scar on the art world. The Isabella Stewart Gardner Museum, a Venetian-style palace housing a priceless collection, became the stage for one of the most audacious and, to this day, largest unsolved art thefts in history. 13 works of art, collectively valued at an astonishing $500 million, vanished into the night, leaving behind empty frames and a mystery that continues to perplex investigators and captivate the public imagination. The heist began in the early hours of March 18th. As St. Patrick's Day celebrations were winding down across the city, 2 men disguised as police officers approached the museum's security entrance, claiming to be responding to a disturbance call. This plausible ruse gained them entry, a critical breach of protocol by the museum's young and relatively inexperienced security guards. Once inside, the thieves quickly subdued the 2 guards, handcuffing them in the museum's basement, far from any means of raising an alarm. We now journey south to Fortaleza, Brazil, a bustling coastal city that, in August 2005, became the scene of one of the most audacious bank burglaries ever conceived. This was not a smash-and-grab operation, nor a sophisticated cyber attack. Instead, it was a feat of old-fashioned grit, engineering, and an almost unbelievable level of patience. The culprits tunneled their way into the vault of the Banco Central, making off with an estimated 160 million Brazilian reais, equivalent to around 70 million US dollars at the time. The planning for this extraordinary undertaking began months, possibly even a year, in advance. The gang, a large and well-organized group, rented a commercial property near the bank, establishing a front business, a company selling artificial turf and plants. This provided the perfect cover for their subterranean activities, allowing them to move equipment and dispose of excavated soil without arousing suspicion. They were, quite literally, digging their way to a fortune right under the noses of the unsuspecting city. The tunnel itself was a marvel of illicit engineering. Our chronicle now transports us to New York City, to John F. Kennedy International Airport, a bustling hub of global commerce, and on a cold December night in 1978, the scene of a heist that would become legendary, immortalized in popular culture, and whispered about in hushed tones for decades. This was the Lufthansa heist, an audacious robbery that netted a gang, with deep ties to organized crime, an estimated $5.875 million in cash and jewels, a staggering sum, equivalent to over $23 million today. The plan was masterminded by Jimmy the Gent Burke, an associate of the Lucchese crime family, a man known for his cunning and ruthlessness. Burke had received a tip-off from a Lufthansa cargo agent, Louis Werner, who was deep in gambling debt. Werner provided crucial inside information about the airline's security procedures and the routine shipments of untraceable currency being flown in from West Germany. This intelligence was the key that unlocked the potential for an immense score. The target was Lufthansa's cargo terminal building 261. The airline regularly flew in currency exchanged by American servicemen and tourists in West Germany. This cash, once landed, was stored in a high-security vault within the cargo building before being collected by armored trucks. We now travel back in time, to Boston, Massachusetts, on the evening of January 17, 1950. A daring group executed what was dubbed the crime of the century. They targeted the Brinks Armored Car Depot and made off with over $2.7 million. This was the Great Brinks Robbery. The 11-member gang, led by Joseph Big Joe McGinnis and Anthony Fats Pino, were seasoned criminals. They spent nearly 2 years meticulously planning their audacious venture. They observed the Brinks building, studying routines and schedules. They surreptitiously entered the depot, stealing copies of the vault keys. Their attention to detail was extraordinary. They rehearsed their movements and wore rubber-soled shoes to minimize noise. On the night of the heist, they slipped into the Brinks building as employees were counting the day's receipts. Their entry was silent, their presence undetected until they chose to reveal themselves. Our journey now returns to London, England, but fast-forwards to the Easter weekend of April 2015. In the heart of London's Diamond District, a group of thieves executed a daring raid on the Hatton Garden Safe Deposit Company, a feat made all the more astonishing by the advanced age of its principal perpetrators. This was not a gang of young, agile criminals, but a group of seasoned, elderly men, some in their 60s and 70s, who became known in the press as the Diamond Geezers or Dad's Army. The plan, reminiscent of classic heist films, involved bypassing sophisticated security systems and drilling through a thick concrete vault wall. The gang chose the long Easter holiday weekend, knowing the building would be largely deserted, giving them ample time to carry out their audacious plan. They gained access to the building reportedly by disabling the elevator and climbing down the lift shaft to the basement where the vault was located. Chapter 8. The Great Canadian Maple Syrup Heist, a sticky situation. We now turn to a most unusual yet remarkably lucrative criminal enterprise, the Great Canadian Maple Syrup Heist. Between 2011 and 2012, in the province of Quebec, a region responsible for nearly 3/4 of the world's maple syrup supply, thieves managed to siphon off an astonishing 3,000 tons of maple syrup from a storage facility. The stolen syrup, part of Canada's strategic reserve, was valued at an incredible 18.7 million Canadian dollars. This was no ordinary theft. It was a meticulously planned operation targeting a uniquely Canadian treasure. The Federation of Quebec Maple Syrup Producers maintains a strategic reserve of syrup, a sweet Fort Knox to stabilize prices and ensure a consistent supply, regardless of annual harvest variations. Chapter 9. The Banco Rio Robbery, the Art of Illusion and Escape. Our penultimate story takes us to Acasuso, Argentina, a prosperous suburb of Buenos Aires, on a sweltering January day in 2006. Here the Banco Rio branch became the setting for a heist that was as much a piece of performance art as it was a daring robbery. A group of thieves executed a plan so audacious, so theatrical, that it became known as El Robo del Siglo, the robbery of the century in Argentina, not just for the money stolen, but for the sheer cunning and nerve displayed. The heist began in broad daylight. Several armed men entered the bank, quickly taking 23 people hostage. They were calm, almost polite, reassuring the hostages that they only wanted the bank's money and had no intention of harming anyone. This initial phase, however, was a meticulously crafted diversion. Chapter 10. The Millennium Dome Raid, a diamond heist foiled. Our final chapter takes us back to London, to the dawn of a new millennium, and to an audacious attempt to steal some of the world's most priceless diamonds. In November 2000, a heavily armed gang launched a daring daylight raid on the Millennium Dome, a vast exhibition space in Greenwich, specifically targeting the De Beers Diamond Exhibition, which included the flawless 203-carat Millennium Star Diamond, valued at an estimated £200 million, alongside 11 other blue diamonds. The plan was audacious in its simplicity and brutality. The gang intended to smash their way into the dome using a modified JCB excavator, crash through the security surrounding the diamond display, seize the jewels, and make their escape via a speedboat on the nearby River Thames. It was a high-stakes gamble, relying on speed, surprise, and overwhelming force to secure a treasure of almost unimaginable value. The potential reward was so immense it attracted a hardened group of criminals. The gang, equipped with smoke bombs, ammonia, and nail guns, executed the first part of their plan with alarming precision. Chapter 11, The Enduring Echo of Audacity. Our exploration of these audacious chapters of human history draws to a close. We've journeyed through meticulously planned operations and witnessed astonishing lengths of human ingenuity. Each story reveals our capacity for strategy, bold execution, and profound misjudgment. These chronicles of ambition and risk are etched into our collective memory. The masterminds, crews, and investigators played their parts on a high-stakes stage. The echoes of their actions resonate in empty museum frames and unrecovered fortunes. The human drive to acquire and overcome is a powerful force. History is a dynamic tapestry woven with human endeavor. These extraordinary heists and cons will continue to captivate us, proving reality can be stranger than fiction.